I have a story that I have to share with you about a breakthrough that I just had recently. And I don't know if you've ever had that experience where something's kind of like floating around in your awareness. It's like you're thinking about it, you're aware of something, but you don't fully have the words to articulate it. And then someone says exactly what you've been thinking, and you're like, that's it. Well, that is what just happened. I was in this free masterclass called Shady Business with Felicity Morgan, who I highly recommend. Her work is all about shadow work. And she was talking about how through doing all of this shadow work, she had moved to this place in her business where she could just respond. Like, it didn't matter if stuff was happening or there was stress or there was any kind of overwhelm. It's like you almost don't get the overwhelm because you can handle it. And it suddenly hit me. That's what it is. And I want to tell you a story of what happened. Probably, I was like maybe a year or so ago, someone who was a friend and I had met in a mastermind had reached out and asked for a refund. And I had never in my entire business I had seen, I think, probably hundreds of clients by then. I had never had someone ask for a refund, and she hadn't even had the session yet. She wanted a refund. She hadn't had her session. She had booked it. A whole bunch of people from this mastermind had booked sessions with me, and I was quite close friends with this person. And basically the thing was, she's like, I think I just got swept up in the excitement, and I don't know if it feels right, and like, can I have a refund, basically? And I was so triggered, got so upset, like not good upset. And it didn't help that when we were going back and forth, she kind of said to me, she's like, oh, like, I'm sure you deal with this all the time. And I was more upset. I was like, are you insinuating that people want their money back all the time? Like, this has never happened to me before. This doesn't happen in my business. And I was really upset. And then she was kind of upset that she had upset me. And then she was like, no, it's fine. Like, I don't want the refund. And I was like, no, you're having the refund. And I sent the money back, and I didn't know how Stripe refunds worked at that point in time, and so it like tried to refund, and there wasn't enough money in the account that it goes into, and so it triggered this whole like review process that was very stressful, and the whole situation was like a freaking disaster. And it really I feel like it took me out of the game for like, I don't even know how long. I was really upset about it, but we ended up having a beautiful conversation and working through it, and she apologized, and it was all good in the end. But this was really a thing. Like, this was kind of like something that came out of left field and totally threw me off. It was interesting because this is only the second time this has ever happened, by the way, but just a couple of weeks ago, it's probably more like 2 months now, someone upgraded from a mastermind. I don't know why there's balloons happening. I have no idea why that just happened. Someone upgraded from a mastermind into like a shared private container, and I don't think they fully understood how to use the space. And they sent me this email and sort of wanted to refriend, sort of just were like exploring. And I got it 5 minutes before I went on a call. And I remember just looking at it and being like, no problem, I'll deal with this after the call. And I just went on to the call, and it was amazing. And there was no response in my body. There was no crazy thoughts, no stress in my nervous system. It was literally just like, yep, no problem, I will deal with that. And I ended up having a beautiful conversation with this client, and she understood how to use the container, and it was perfect. It was the only 2 times I've ever had this situation. But what I realized is how much I've regulated my nervous system, and how much doing all of the healing work and all of the shadow work and all of the inner work has led to this state of neutrality and regulation, where something like that can happen and I don't get upset about it. And so Felicity, she's talking about shadow work, which is very similar to what I do. I don't call it shadow work, but the subconscious, unconscious stuff, it's basically the same thing. And she was basically saying, like, this is why in business, you can keep moving, and you can hold difficult situations and not go all inwards and get emotionally rattled. And it was so funny, because since this thing happened where with the woman recently that ended, I had been thinking about that. I was like, this was so easy. Like, I didn't have any reaction. Like, what is it? And when I was in this masterclass, I realized that's what it is. It's all the healing. It's all the regulating my nervous system. It's all of the subconscious, clearing out the gremlins and being able to hold what a lot of people, Melanie calls it the flip side. And it just hit me the power of having that safety in my body and in that safe space. And I want to share with you guys too, like, it has been such a journey in this work with me. I first trained in RTT with Marissa Peer, which is amazing, and this year I did the advanced conversational hypnosis training, which like literally just took everything to a whole other level. But I had this container with Mary Morgan a couple of months ago. I think it was called the Q4 retreat or something. It was like a 2-day retreat. And this woman ended up coming, and she, it was a business container, but she put her hand up, and I think the initial question was something about like, she was having grief. She had lost her husband. And her question was, how do I like find my authenticity or speak to my clients or something like this? And I remember just sitting there with her and saying, I get this feeling from you like you've been so brave, but you're holding yourself back from healing, like from really processing this pain. And she ended up being very brave and very vulnerable and allowing us to go there, and using all the elements of hypnotherapy and the Michael Magic, we were able to tune in to the pain and grief that she had been holding in her body. We literally hold this in our organs and in our nervous system and not processing. And we shifted through so much. It was so intense and it was so beautiful. And I did it it was the first time I'd ever done something like that in front of the room. Like, I knew that I could do it, but I just had never done it before. And what I realized when I was watching everyone's faces is like, this is healing everyone. Everyone cried with her when she went into the pain. And her unconscious mind gave me this analogy. It said something about, I don't know how to build the bridge. And so what I did is as I worked through the session, I kept hinting that back. When she would be really deep in emotion, I would say, building that bridge, which is actually a suggestion to her unconscious to sort of resolve the problem. And there was this moment, and I said, what was that? And she said, hope just came in. And you could feel it. It was almost like there was a light in her face. And what I realized is all of the participants in the room who was watching, they all felt the hope too. They all lit up. It was like they all went on this deep journey with her. We all cried with her. We all lit up with her. And at the end, she was laughing and she said, I feel lighter and I feel this sense of peace. And it was like a Friday and then a Monday. And so we came back on the Monday and she put up her hand and she was like, I just have to share with you, I feel so much lighter and I feel freer. And I don't know what you did, but I've been processing this grief for a year, and like something really shifted. And I could see again, the whole room had tears in their eyes because we could all feel how different her energy was. It's literally like magic. That's why people call it the Michael Magic. It's based on a whole lot of stuff that I had to work really hard to learn, but it really does feel like magic. And this is exactly what the breakthrough experience is. It's like 6 months of that, of getting a call every month and getting to have that magic, deep healing, going on the inner journey, doing that work, feeling the people that you're in there with go deep and cry and heal, and all releasing together. And then we've got calls for the supportive work around that too. And so this experience with this woman, when I did this in front of the room and watched everyone's faces, it actually is the very thing that made me realize, one, wow, I can do this in front of people in a group setting. And two, that actually when we go on this healing journey, it actually heals the whole room. Because if someone's working on a pain or a parental thing, as we all have stuff from childhood, it's like the part inside you that connects to the part of their story literally connects as it's happening. And as I guide this person through the journey, it's like your unconscious goes there too. And we all get this breakthrough and this release. And it's literally magic. It's magic. And so I am inviting you to this magical container. It's starting on Thursday. It's open until January, but we have our first official call on Thursday. And yeah, if you want to participate in that kind of magic, it is available to you. And, just like I was saying earlier, I think sometimes we think about healing and this kind of work as something that we've got to do just like for ourselves and our personal. But like the story I was telling at the beginning of this video, it's being regulated and being like safe in my body and non-reactive has had impact on so many areas of my life and my business, the ability to hold so much more. But I was just talking to a colleague that I'm doing a collaboration with, and we were talking about how, people sometimes have this like reactivity or burn bridges in relationships and in business and online spaces, and it can be such a destructive thing. And I think so often, yay, thanks so much for telling me, you guys. I think so often that thing, it's like oh shoot, my childhood trauma is showing in this business meeting. Like, why can't I up level and, be in this room or connect with these things or show up consistently a certain way? And it's like these old things inside us. Oh, I'm getting pushed down my shoulder. Are you waking up? Is it too much talking? He has the most unimpressed face ever. And so, yeah, clearing all of that stuff out of literally your body and your mind is one of the most freeing and beautiful things ever. And the ladies that have already jumped in are amazing. I know it's going to be incredible space. And so I invite you, if you know that it's your time to do this work and make that magic happen, I invite you to jump in. And I think maybe just reflect on some of those like, I'm dead. This is what he looks like all day. I'll be like working in the morning and I'm like, where's my dog? And I go and I check on him and he'll just be in bed like this. This is how he spends his day. But if you do have those moments where things come up and you get physically dysregulated under stress and under pressure, like, I invite you as well to really look at that and not just think about it as, dealing with stuff in business, but that's the invitation to learn about how to regulate your nervous system, to really go inwards and say, what is this actually about? Because very often it's not what we think it is. Like, if I were to really analyze at that time that I got upset about that person that requested a refund, is probably because I felt rejected on some level. And so it's like this little kid in me feels rejected and then causes me to act, my adult self to be hijacked and act in a way that's super, super unproductive to creating the life and the business that I want. So I invite you to reflect on that. But anyways, I am gonna get this guy some supper and maybe play with him so he's not making it look like he has no life on the internet. Thank you so much for joining me today. If it's your first time watching, you can follow me on Instagram, connect with me on Facebook. Definitely make sure you check out my podcast and YouTube, where I post lots of content. And I will see you later. Bye for now.